Welcome into another edition of Mavs Latest. I am Josyah Howard, and I gotta get y'all updated with the latest on Jason Kidd. In the last episode, we talked about how Jason Kidd had mutual interest in the Knicks job that is open right now after the firing of Tom Thibodeau. And now, as we get an update from Shams Charania, the Knicks have not formally requested an interview with the Mavs head coach Jason Kidd. And here's the kicker, we talked about this in the last episode, so I'm not shocked by this, what I'm about to say. If the Knicks were to formally request an interview for Jason Kidd, the Mavericks would decline, per Shams Charania, ESPN senior insider. And I can't say I'm shocked by this. If you watched the last pod, you know that I thought this was ultimately going to be Jason Kidd staying with Dallas. Did I think the next day we're going to be talking about the Knicks are not even going to get an interview with him? No, I thought it would kind of draw and play out a little bit. But if I'm a Mavs fan today, I'm sitting here jumping for joy because Jason Kidd is the answer to where this franchise is currently at, post Luka trade, post Kyrie injury. I got into it a little bit last pod. Definitely go check it out. Jason Kidd, at this point now, in this whole process, really gained a lot of leverage here because now you have teams going after him. Now Jason can sit back and say, well, I know if you let me go, I'd get hired tomorrow. Like, the Knicks want to interview me now, and I'm still locked in here, and they're wanting to interview me now. So if you let me go, I could have a job tomorrow. So what are we going to do about this? I think the first piece of this and the first mark of demarcation on this is Jason Kidd is going to get extended, right? Because if you're not going to let him interview for this job, then why wouldn't you just extend him? He's clearly your guy for the long term at this point. If another team wanted to get him, and at this point you're bringing in Cooper Flagg, we'll obviously get to that. This show is going to be a ton about Cooper Flagg, obviously. If you're telling him he can't even interview for this job, you're telling me, all right, we're locked in for the long haul. This is a marriage now. You had a chance. You had an exit ramp. This was your out. If you wanted to end this relationship with Jason Kidd, this was your out. And you didn't take it. And I'm ecstatic they didn't take it. This is the right decision not to even let him get to MSG. Do not even let him get in the building. Don't even let him have these conversations. That is the decision. And this is the right one. But now you give Jason Kidd some leverage here. You give him a little power. And honestly, maybe it's deservedly so. I mean, they went to the NBA Finals last year. You have to give them some credit for that. You have to. I mean, just their path to get there in the crazy West, no one expected them to be there. I mean, you obviously had a superstar in Luka Doncic in the NBA. Anything's possible when you have a talent like that. But now it's like, are the Mavs now under more pressure to win now because of this? Of now you're extending Kidd. Now you're telling him, all right, we could have given you the opportunity to go to a more win now situation in the Eastern Conference in the East. No, you're not doing that. You're going to stay here and you're going to help Cooper Flagg build. You're going to help AD maximize his potential as an A superstar, a Batman, a Superman, not a Robin. Like, right now, that's what they need from Anthony Davis. And in LA, that's what he was asked to do a ton. And really the only year he did it was in the bubble. So I don't know if it's even fair to ask or expect him to get to that level now. Um, but I would say the biggest winner in all of this nonsense, in all honesty, a lot of smoke where there needed to be no smoke, to be honest, is Cooper Flag. And I'm always going to keep going back to this because Cooper Flag is the key in all this. Jason Kidd, his specialty is helping these young kids grow to the superstar potential that they need to get to. And you've seen it with a guy like Giannis, you've seen it with a guy like Luka. I'll keep going back to it over and over again. And honestly, Giannis is why this all started in the first place. So, again, the biggest winner is Cooper Flag. Because at the end of the day, Jason Kidd's going to get Cooper Flag to where he needs to get to. And that's honestly being the franchise superstar for the Dallas Mavericks. Because that's the expectation. You're the number one pick. You're the player of the year in college basketball. You almost won the Natty, didn't quite get there, but you had a good run. You don't always win the Natty, and that's okay. But I say that to say all this. Keeping Jason Kidd is the key to getting Cooper Flag to his max potential. And you see a guy like Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio, I could see that type of quick jump growth from Cooper Flag. I could see a year 2 jump from him. I could see a year 3 jump from him. And I think we'll see a lot of flashes in his rookie year this season. And it would be unfair to expect him to already reach that number 1 franchise player guy this season. That's really unfair to ask of him. But I think it's possible for him. So, we're going to talk about it a ton here on Mavs Latest. I'm Josyah Howard. But I do want to get to this story because I thought it was really funny, honestly. So, Kyrie Irving was on Twitch last night, and he starts defending Karl Anthony Towns. He says, you got to stop making fun of my brother Cat. I don't agree all the time with how he be changing his tone, but he's a man. He's my brother. I got to protect him. And I got to say, I love the Cat content on the internet. It makes me chuckle. It makes me laugh. It's all in good fun, all in good entertainment to me. I don't know how Cat feels about it. I won't go too deep into the trenches of all that. But I say that to say all this. I just love the growth from Kyrie Irving since getting to Dallas. When he first got traded to Dallas, you really didn't know how it was going to go. You didn't know what version of him you're going to get. And I'm happy to say it feels like he's been humbled. It feels like he's really taken on that leadership role within that community, within this franchise. And it's great to see. I've always been a fan of Kyrie as a basketball player, and obviously all the nonsense in the past it wasn't needed. I don't want to get too far into that because he doesn't deserve that. He's really, I feel like, reformed from all of that. But I just wanted to bring that up because I just thought it was a nice, funny moment showing that other side of Kyrie where he could have fun with it. He's having fun with the internet, but at the same time, he want to have Cat's back. And, I respect that fraternity the NBA brothers got for each other. But another thing he brought up in his Twitch stream said he wants to be on the Jeff Teague podcast, Club 520. I think this would be great content. They need to make that happen. I'm a fan of what they do over there at Club 520. I think he'd fit right in with that barbershop talk that they got going on. I really would enjoy that. I can't wait for it. I'm hoping they saw his message on Twitch and they already got that brewing and got that going. But the last thing with Kyrie Irving I want to get to, according to Mark Stein, not verbatim, but Kyrie Irving is not going anywhere. There's no chatter of him in trade rumors. There's none of that going on. It seems like the Mavericks are locked in on keeping Kyrie here for the long term. He's here to stay, and I'm happy for it. I think he's another guy we talked about, Jason Kidd, a little while ago. I think he's another guy that's going to be great for Cooper Flag. Somebody who's been a champion in this league, who's been a superstar, honestly, since he was in high school. I think he gets what a lot of what Cooper Flag is going through right now. He also went to Duke, has those roots as well. I just think blessing in disguise possibly for a Cooper Flag. Like Dallas may really be the perfect spot for him, and Kyrie Irving to me is another reason why he is possibly going to the best spot he could have went to in all this and the drama that was the NBA draft lottery this year. But the last thing I want to get to before we end this episode today here on Mavs Latest, we heard today the league announced that the Mavericks and the Pistons will play an NBA regular season game in Mexico City this coming season. They will return to Mexico City on November 1st in Arena CDMX. They announced it on Tuesday. This matchup will mark the NBA's 34th game in Mexico since 1992, more than any other country outside the United States and Canada. The Mavericks CEO spoke, Rick Welts spoke, and he said, "We take significant pride in the fact that the Mavericks organization and other supporters reflect the increased globalization of basketball and the NBA." He continued by saying the vibrancy of Mexico City and the passion of its fans make it the perfect place to host these global games. Overall, I think this is great for the league. You see all the global stars taking over the league, and just in this episode alone, I brought up a guy in Luka Doncic and a guy in Giannis Antetokounmpo, respectively, that kind of show that on a smaller stage in our superstars now today in the NBA. But it's great for the game. You gotta keep expanding. You gotta keep letting kids around the world see the product, see the game, get inspired. That's how you get the most out of talent around the world, not just United States players, but around the world. I think it's great for the league. They're following in the footsteps of the NFL. They're seeing how successful the NFL has been in getting these games across the world. And I think it's not just a fad. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be the new norm. I think good for the NBA for extending the game out to Mexico City. But again, now Mavs and Pistons, I don't know what these teams are going to look like in November, obviously, and we'll get to more of that as the summer progresses. But, I mean, on paper, just what I would imagine this game would be, this is going to be a good basketball game. The Pistons are a really tough-nosed team. You got a superstar in Cade Cunningham, and you're possibly going to have a matchup of Cooper Flag and Anthony Davis going against them. I don't know what the supporting cast is going to look like. I'm excited to really get to all that during this offseason because I do think the Mavericks have some potential moves that they are possibly thinking about making. But in terms of this game in Mexico City, it's going to be an exciting one. In terms of a basketball fan in me, I'm actually excited to see this game in Mexico City and how in the future they're going to make these games work in the regular season going overseas and how the travel will work and all that stuff. But, this has been Mavs Latest. I'm Josyah. Continue to subscribe on the YouTube channel and let's get it.